Hello and welcome back to the Willie Morgan Show with Manchester United icon Willie Morgan. We're going to be joined by a very special guest this evening in Rowetta, who has toured with the Happy Mondays for numerous years. She also participated in the X Factor, finishing fourth in the very first series of that iconic show as well. And Willie, I'm really looking forward to it because it will be an interesting insight into not only football for myself, but music as well, which I know you love too.
Yeah, well, and for me, obviously I've never met the girl, I know one or two of the songs from Happy Mondays. So yeah, it'd be lovely. It'd be lovely to have her on. Nice to have a woman on for a change, isn't it, Callum?
Absolutely.
All these rough old geezers coming on all the time. So it'd be lovely to have her on. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. And of course, again, we start the week. Another sad lot. I've got three pals. One you won't know, a lad called Barry Keelan, who was a great friend of mine. And of course, Ian St. John, which just happened. And another lad I spent a lot of time with. We spent a lot of time with Johnny Briggs. Briggsy and I used to cut around town together. And the last time I saw him was at the Howard Keels. It's after Howard had died, and it was when Don Felder was doing it. So, obviously, commiseration to all the families. And the other thing tonight, I've got a few pals who have obviously been struggling in the hotel business, really struggling. You've got the mob from the Hilton, Paul Farrell, Steve Cassidy, and my very great friend John McLaughlin. And I know that Gary Johnson at the Mere, they've been struggling, looking forward to the opening. And also a big happy 60th birthday to a fellow jock. He's down at Carden Park. And Hamish and I go back a long, long way. And he's a general manager down there. He's a big Man United fan, and he's 60 today. Hamish, I hope you have a great time, pal. I wish I could be with you, and no doubt we'll meet up very soon. Hopefully, when all this is over, I know we're going to get together, play some golf, and have a bit of fun.
A big birthday, and you're right. Happy birthday, Hamish. I hope you have a wonderful day. The thing that I've said to a few of my friends who have had birthdays during this period, a few of them have been complaining that they've not been able to do the normal things. And in typical Scottish fashion, I've tried to say to them, see it as a double whammy. Celebrate it at home just now, and then store that celebration in the bank for when we're able to get back out and about.
Hopefully it'll come. And of course, I've had a sleepless week, Callum, because I had an appointment at the dentist. Now, the dentist is my biggest fear. Don't forget, when I was a kid, they were butchers. You went under the pain of death to the dentist. They were vicious. And I had to go, a couple of fillings that had come out. And anyway, my dentist, Noel Harrison, I went there on yesterday. Sweating I was, petrified. Anyway, no, he was great as he is. Didn't hurt me at all. And also, I did a book for a son of one of his workers called Mert. So if you're listening, Mert, I believe he's a big Man United supporter. And I hope you enjoy the book, pal.
We also got a kind message in, pardon me, from Michael Burney, who listens to the show. Michael's a massive Manchester United fan. He's got a season ticket at Old Trafford. He's really missing not getting to Old Trafford at this moment in time. And he just got in touch. He said, I've not got a question for the show this week, but I just want to say thank you to yourself and Willie for giving us some content during the lockdown. So very nice to get that sort of message from Michael.
It's lovely. I know he's always got some good questions as well. Yeah, we do a little bit the best we can, Michael. Callum's the he's the brains behind us too. I'm just a puppet, so Callum's the man that does all the work. And of course I like Kay, because as you all know, without that I couldn't use this Zoom. my flip phone doesn't do that sort of thing. So, yeah, it'll all be over soon. We're getting there. There's a bit of daylight, but I've still got to take care.
We certainly do. And what's nice about this, I say nice, it's a tough time, but what's nicer at the moment is the fact that there's sunshine. I mean, I'm based in the west coast of Scotland, so sunshine to me is a real novelty. But it's nice that the weather is starting to turn. We've reached March. You can sort of see yourself on the road to summer. And although we're potentially going to be stuck at home another few months, it's nice to know that for yourself, of course, Willie, you can go and play golf, but more importantly, you can sit in the garden and actually enjoy some fresh air as well.
Well, my wife Kay showed me some photographs from last year or some video. We were sunbathing in last March in the garden. It was boiling here. Obviously, I hope it's going to be the same. If this week's anything to go by, it's looking great. So, but she's had me out working again, Callum. I think she's trying to kill me off. She's had me working in the garden again, sawing down trees and doing all sorts of stuff. She's looking at me. She's throwing me daggers. She's throwing daggers at me here. So, anyway, yeah, hopefully the weather, it makes the world a nicer place anyway. At least you can get outside. Because you're stuck in the house. You imagine what it's like for the poor people with so many kids at home. But now that the schools are going back, that will help as well. That will help a lot of people, because it must be mind numbing, in the house all the time, all day, especially when you've got a lot of kids with you. So it'll all be over soon.
As promised, we are joined by the superb Rowetta from the Happy Mondays and various other performances over the years, which we will, of course, go into. There's been so many questions that have come in for both of you. I love doing this show because the level of questions that come in for Willie and our guests is always fantastic. The first question I've got, Rowetta, just sum up your love of football, because we've had quite a few people saying, who's your team? Who do you support?
There's only one team for me. I'm from Manchester, born and bred, still live here. So it's Manchester United. It's never been a question of anybody else, because a lot of my friends supported City when I was young, but I've never loved football as much as when I'm watching United. And it became almost obsessional when Eric Cantona started playing, to be honest, for me, because I used to take my son to the games. So it changes everything when you actually go to the games and you see what it does to a kid. When they just love football, when they love the game and they dream of being a footballer. It's not going to happen. It wasn't going to happen for my son. But he went to the same school as Marcus Rashford, but a few years before. But Manchester lads, they want to play for United, and it's just beautiful. And now the girls can play for United if they want as well. But it's I've always loved football. I love hanging around with lads, and I love the camaraderie. And it's still now. I still sit with the same people when I go and watch the games. And when I walk in, I go into a lot of the games on my own because of what I do, because I've just come from a gig, go to a game, or I'm going to a gig, and everyone just lets on and says hello. It's really friendly, and I miss it terribly now because we can't go. It's not the same without a crowd. Yeah, I love it.
It isn't the same without a crowd, and Manchester United this season are sitting second in the league. They've improved considering that they finished third last year, and a lot of people were maybe surprised at that. What do you make of the current Manchester United team? You mentioned Marcus Rashford earlier. Is he one of your favourite players?
Yeah, definitely. He's been brilliant for the club, and he's Manchester through and through, born and bred, which I always love. But Bruno Fernandes, for me, when he came, something's happened, something changed. Like when Cantona came, Ronaldo a bit as well. There's always a player that does something else and adds that special magic. And when Bruno Fernandes is playing, even if he doesn't play well, he does it for me. He's just passionate. But I think this whole squad's brilliant. I know a lot of people are talking about we need centre backs and everything, but I think give us more time next season. I think we could be really special. I know City are the ones to beat this season, but since Ollie's come, I've got hope again. I didn't have any hope with Moyes, had no hope with Van Gaal, didn't like them as managers. They weren't right. I know it's hard he was irreplaceable, Alex Ferguson, but Ollie, he's been brought up the Fergie way, and I love Ollie, and he loves United. And I think if he started to do a rubbish job, he'd walk because he loves United. And a lot of them other managers, they didn't walk. I wasn't a fan at all of Moyes or Van Gaal. They weren't doing it right. The players weren't playing for them. and they should have walked. They didn't love United like I do, but now the players seem to respect Ollie. They respect the fans. You know, it's just difficult because we do need a crowd. The players must need a crowd as well. It's just odd. It must be awful. You, Willie, are a player, so you know what it's like to go on. It must be terrible for them going on without that fake crowd noise. Doesn't do it for me, and I'm sure it mustn't do it for the players. But we're doing really well considering, because I don't think the team's ready yet, but we're doing really well to be second. Luckily, Liverpool are doing a lot worse, which is always makes me. I'm from that era where it can't stand Liverpool. I don't even care that City at top as long as Liverpool are below us. I'm happy.
In terms of the crowd, Willie, just sum that up.
No, Rowetta's different class, because that's what we say every week.
Yeah.
It's fantastic. They're in free fall. It's absolutely brilliant. In free fall. Hope they keep going down. Anyway. No, you're one. I'm glad you're one of us, Rowetta. So.
Exactly. Well, I'm a bit older. I know a lot of the young ones that go, "Oh, we hate City because City are doing well now." I'm a proper old school. I remember when Liverpool did well in the 70s, and I really didn't like it. We hated each other, and a lot of my friends would fight. I'd hide under cars in Blackpool when Liverpool came along because the lads started. You know, we were fighting. It was a different era then. I prefer it not the fighting, but I love the rivalry. I do. But with City, it's more like banter to me. Liverpool, it used to get a bit too nasty. But I tell you what, I always. With the Liverpool fans, we always stick together when it comes to important things and losses and respect each other. But when it comes to football, I hope they lose every week, whoever they're playing. You know, I hated it last season when they did well, and I knew it wouldn't last. I prayed. People were praying for the pandemic to finish. I wanted Liverpool to go rubbish again, and they are. It's great.
Just on the Rowetta's point, Willie, about no fans in stadiums, how strange is that? And for you as a winger who love to entertain the crowd and take your fullbacks on, how do you think you would have found it playing in front of 0 people at such a stadium at Old Trafford?
Obviously, it's opposition to. It never happened to us. But playing in front of the fans was phenomenal, because the buzz. When you walked out of Old Trafford, the buzz was unbelievable, and it lasted the whole game. So to play in front of an empty state, it's like probably down at the training ground when you're having a practice match or something. There's no, I don't know, but you know, at the end of the day, it's your pride. You still want it, no matter what it is, even if there's no one there at all. Yeah. Your pride wants you to play well. You know, you're still in competition. So, but it is difficult. It'd be brilliant when they're able to come back. It'd be fun, especially at Old Trafford. I mean, the fans are amazing. I think between them and Celtic, they're the two greatest fans in British Isles.
In the world, really, in the world. I think people say that, don't they? The fans just amazing, and Celtic, like you say.
The United fans are unbelievable, Rowetta. Absolutely unbelievable.
And they love you. Our drummer in Happy Mondays, you're his favourite player ever. I remember on his birthday, I tried to get you on the radio, on a radio show on the BBC, and they couldn't get hold of you because as a surprise for him, he's just absolutely, you know, I have my Eric Cantona. He is my absolute favourite. But he went to see you as a kid, so you're his favourite, and it's just lovely. I'm so proud of him. He'll be dead jealous.
What was his name? Your drummer?
He's Gary Whelan. He's the drummer from Happy Mondays, but you're his favourite player. So
if you're listening to the show, hey, good luck, pal, and I hope you enjoyed the time back then. It was a long time ago, but they were great times back in the late 60s. It was fantastic. The Samat, the feeling everywhere. The feeling, you know, Rowetta, we used to park our cars in the car park at the top of the ground and walk down through the crowd.
Wow.
To go into the players' room. And there was like 63,500 back in those days. And we would park our cars and walk down through them. And you knew everybody.
Yeah.
Obviously, it's a long walk, and you're walking through thousands of people. No one bothered. They all say, hello, I'll have a good game, and great. Different world. It was a different. But it was a happy. It's always been a happy club, and that makes a big difference. Yeah, I mean, Matt was very, very, very special. Yeah. And you know, he created the whole atmosphere and the whole myth of Manchester United. And to this day, and I think Ollie, I mean, I love Ollie. I think he's the right guy for the job.
Yeah.
He needs time.
Yeah.
He needs 5 years, and he'll turn it around. And the great thing about Ollie as your manager, he could play. He was a great player.
Mm.
So all these people will respect him
That's
because
true.
he's better than all of them were.
Yeah, that's true.
So he will command respect, Rowetta, and not demand it.
Yeah.
All the Mourinho was, I mean, I know you talked about Moyes and Van Gaal, but Mourinho, the way his team's played, and same again at Spurs, he's got 10 men playing behind his goalkeeper. He's dreadful.
Yeah.
He was destroying us here.
I don't mention Mourinho because when Fergie went, I actually wanted Mourinho then, and we got Moyes because I thought he would. I couldn't think who could replace, and nobody could really replace Alex Ferguson. But and that's when I wanted Mourinho. So I keep my mouth shut a bit about him because when he came, it was an absolute disaster.
Oh, listen, hey, I'm exactly with you. I wanted Mourinho.
Yeah. Oh, good.
And you know, Alex, they bottled Mourinho.
Yeah.
And Alex got Moyes in because Alex could control Moyes.
Yeah.
He was his pal, and he was going to do, and it was wrong at the time. But I genuinely thought that if Mourinho, when he came to us, other than the way Chelsea played, because they were another one, but they were awful.
Yeah.
I mean, they were awful to watch. And I said, but he'll come to Manchester United. He knows the history of the club.
Yeah.
We play attacking football, you know, open, fantastic attacking football.
That's
and
what we look United for, yeah.
And I thought he would change. He didn't.
No.
He didn't. So
yeah, expected the team to change and play like he likes to play. It was horrible, wasn't it? Wasn't United?
Dreadful, absolutely dreadful. So no, I was glad when he went. No.
No, I was just don't mention him as much because I think if he'd have just come for a couple of years straight after Sir Alex, it might have worked then because that's who I wanted. But you know, probably looking back at Guardiola would have been Pep would have been a good one. But you can't look back; you just got to look forward. And we've got Ollie now. And what I can't stand now though is the fans turning on Ollie every time we lose or don't do as well. You can't do that, and then they love him the next week because of this social media, which I know you wouldn't have had back in the day. It's just does my head in. They're so disloyal online. But when we go to the games, everyone you back whoever our manager is and all our players when we go to the games. But this online thing, Ollie out every time we lose. Get lost. You're not proper fans if you're saying all that.
Well, are they fans though? Are they fans?
They're not proper fans. No, it's
the Liverpool supporters putting that online just to upset us.
I can't stand it. Yeah.
Social media is not my biggest thing. And no, back in my day, we didn't have mobile phones. In fact, we didn't have any phones.
Probably a good thing. I think it's probably a good thing. It's not done anybody any favours, any footballers any favours, has it?
Oh, it's a different world we live in, Rowetta.
Yeah.
Absolutely different world.
You could get away with murder back then, couldn't you?
Well, we did.
I know.
I know we did.
And we did as a band, and I understand. And people would have, now they take selfies and pictures, and you get caught doing everything. Everybody sells the stories and takes pictures. Back then, you did what you want. But I loved the excitement. I loved the way it was a lot more free, the world then, in a way, wasn't it? To play the way you played and the way you lived your lives.
People were friendly.
Yeah.
You know, and it's weird to think of it. When we were on the road, all the reporters used to come out with us after the game. The nightclubs, you know, were always out as we did.
Of course.
They all came with us.
Yeah.
You know, we all mixed together. They were like pals. And if there was anything controversial, they would say, "Do you mind? Could I print that? Is that all right?" And we'd say, "Oh, that's okay. You don't mind that one." But they would never ever
do what they do now.
No. Well,
it's,
no.
horrible. It's horrible. There's no trust. It's all about money and greed. Horrible.
Yeah.
Horrible.
Sadly. So who was your favourite bands when you were young?
Well, I was more into punk. I like the Sex Pistols. I like Crass. So I was just a proper punk when I was a kid. Yeah, and that's what I really listened to a lot. But and dance music. I liked other music. I like Motown and everything. I like good songs. But and when I was young, I went and sang in the working men's clubs. I'd be singing ballads and Shirley Bassey and things like that. But what I loved was punk music. Just anything punk. I loved Blondie, Debbie Harry. But yeah, and Chrissy Hind But really, yeah, I didn't really listen to a lot of funky soul music when I was little, not until I was older in the clubs. But yeah, no, when I was sat in my bedroom, I'd be like one of them lads who just rebellious and being just really naughty and just like staying out most of the night and then just listening to punk really loud.
Wow. And that'd be what, in the 80s?
No, because I'm 55 now, so it would have been 70s, really. 76 when I first heard the Sex Pistols for the first time on Tony Wilson's show on Granada. So that would have been 76. So really when I was 12, 13, so talking 78, 79. And then as soon as I discovered boys, I didn't even listen to much music at all. So that would have been, that would have been my 80s, was more about boys than music. I'd go to the clubs and hear music then, but no, I didn't discover music properly and love music until I started singing properly and when I got a bit older. Like now I love it and I write music and I work with bands all the time. But back then I was far too distracted by partying and enjoying myself. And I had 2 little kids as well. I forgot about them.
Did you ever come across Dougie Brown?
Yes, of course. Yeah.
Dougie James.
Yeah, Dougie. I knew exactly what you meant though. Dougie James and his sons are doing well now, the Thomases. But yeah, I loved him. I used to, because I had a job for about 6 weeks, the only job I've ever had in Richfields, and he performed there with his band, Dougie James and the Soul Train, and he used to perform there every week, and it was brilliant. What a lovely man as well. I loved him. When his son Ryan first got a job in Coronation Street, he saw me out and he goes, "Oh, my dad loves you, my dad." He didn't know we were mates, and he got on the phone. He just got a mobile and he rang his dad. He went, "With Rowetta, guess what?" And he goes, "I know Rowetta, not Happy Mondays. I knew Rowetta back in the day." He knew me like probably late 80s. That's when his band played at this club. As I say, I worked as a barmaid to get to know people when I was in a women's aid refuge for a bit. And he was one of the friendliest, loveliest people, introduced me to everybody. And said, "Get up and do a song." I did about half a song. I think I did a Marvin Gaye tune with him all them years ago, and it was beautiful.
Oh, nice. What were the clubs you went to back then?
Well, Hacienda, really, which a lot of people know. As a kid, I'd go when I was about 14. I shouldn't have done. I went to DeVille's in town, which is a punk club. But Hacienda was where I discovered dance music, really. And I first sang there. And then, just house music and all the people and the band that I'm in. Bit of a mad band, excessive partying. But it was a great time, the late 80s, early 90s, for partying. And you'd walk in and the whole of the Hacienda would be smiling and dancing because they're obviously off the faces on something. But it was a great time. It's not like that now because you're not allowed to enjoy yourself like that anymore. But I think it was a great time to be of an age. I wasn't as young as some of the others, but I was about 26. But it made me feel like 15 again, and it was brilliant. I just loved it. It really was going to Hacienda, watching United. It was great to be in Manchester, to live in Manchester and be in a band. I was like the only girl the only girl really in the industry of these Manchester bands. There weren't loads of girls. So, and because I like football as well, I really fitted in with the lads and traveling around. I mean, I will go and walk. I don't walk, but I'll walk miles to go and watch a game if United are playing. And so the lads love that. They love someone to go with. And, instead of, "Can you come with me to go and buy some dresses?" I'd be like, "We need to go and find a pub." And, you watch the game, and I walk around on my own if I'm in Ibiza or in Spain. Can't always find a United fan to come with me, but I will wander around and find a nice Irish pub to watch the game in.
Wow.
Just on the Hacienda, one of the things that's come in quite a few times from our listeners is just the questions of that era, because players like Ryan Giggs, Lee Sharp, they've been on documentaries in the past, and as players, they always talked about Hacienda as being a place they loved to go to. As a musician, what was it like performing there when you had obviously many genuine fans in the audience, but you also had these superstar footballers who were fans as well?
Yeah, well, when I joined the Mondays, we actually started playing G-Mex in the big arenas. But at the beginning, when I was in a dance band, I'd go in and you'd see these young lads. And I've got pictures back then, not too early on because we didn't really have cameras, but there's pictures of the footballers just off it like everybody else enjoying themselves. I'd spend ages keeping them pictures off because it's not like they're just probably drunk, but they look, it's because there are players and are footballers. People don't like to see them enjoying themselves. So, but they used to really enjoy the Hacienda, and they've come to our gigs, but they've come to the Manchester Arena. They wouldn't have seen us in Hacienda because they're too young. When the Mondays played the Hacienda would have been late 80s. And then, but yeah, Ryan and Peter Schmeichel, we've had loads, Gary Neville at our gigs at the Manchester Arena. And, you know, and we're all, well, they've been in our videos, but we're all, oh my God, look who's it. It's great backstage when they come. Because they're fans of ours, but we're fans of theirs. And it's lovely. But yeah, they've grown up. A lot of the lads from Manchester have grown up on Happy Mondays, like Ryan and Paul Scholes and stuff. So I see them a lot at charity games as well now. And they're just lovely because I've known them since they were kids, and I'm a big fan. Same with David Beckham. I'd see him around from being since he was about 17. And my son went to the Bobby Charlton School of Football, and they'd give David Beckham to us to give him the prize at the end of the thing. And I always wanted Cantona or Sir Alex, and I went, oh no, David Beckham again. 2 years running, they give David Beckham. He had to give the prizes out, and now my son obviously loves. He's got a picture of David Beckham giving him his little trophy. But I wasn't happy. I'd all dressed all up to see Cantona and Sir Alex, but because David Beckham then, he was just like a young kid. He was great and everything, but he was 17. He was at 17, 18, and he's really, really shy. But and they're just lovely, lovely lads. Most of the people who played for United during that time, they turned out lovely. They're ever so friendly. I know some of them get a bad rap because they react to things sometimes, and they get in the papers to reacting to things. But I've seen nothing but politeness and loveliness whenever I've met any of the United players. And I've seen the class of 92 reunion. I reported it for one of the radio stations, and they can't all play well anymore. A lot of them are out of shape and out of breath. And I think some of them only lasted about 3 minutes. It's really playing against Salford, they did. But it's really hard though to switch off and not act really like, oh my God, with some of them, because I do know them and I see them out, openings and whatever. And went to Ryan's when he opened his George's in Worsley, went to that. But I'm still in awe of them. As like Brian Robson, go around with his daughter quite a bit, dance with his wife when we're out. They're just a lovely family. But he's still Brian Robson. He's still, to me, if you think of the football, you just go, wow, it's Brian Robson. But I have to try and keep cool because I hate being like that. I hate people like that. But it's just so down to earth. They all are. You are, Willie. There's not really any airs and graces. I don't see, or they don't last at United very long when they're like that, do they? Really?
The thing about football, most of them are from poor families. They're
Yes.
all from class. Certainly. Yeah. And I say many times on the show, football is a simple game played by simple people, made difficult by coaches now. They were just all working class lads.
Yeah.
Got lucky. I mean, we consider ourselves. I'd have been in the mines. I'd probably been dead now with pneumonicosis, like all my family. So kicking a ball around and getting paid for it was unbelievable.
I know it's more than that, though. There's a difference between the ones who make it. It's not just kicking a ball around, is it? And it's knowing what to do with it and practicing. And I mean, it's not just that easy, because there's a lot of lads I see at schools who were good at football, and like at the Bobby Charlton School, they were good, but they weren't as committed, or they didn't love it. Is it having that passion for football, probably, isn't it, as well?
Most of the people that went to Bobby's schools were from middle-class families with money who could afford.
Oh, well, my son went, and I
know. I said most of them, not all.
Yeah, but the one he went to, it was for free. Marcus Rashford's same school as him, and it was a lot of the kids. They didn't have a lot, but if you were good at football, you went. I think it was the little football coach of the under-10s told them to go, and it was only for about 3 weeks, and then they got a pass. But yeah, we certainly weren't really middle class round here. They weren't.
Did he enjoy it?
He loved it. They loved it. And Sir Bobby, and especially if you're a United fan, because Sir Bobby would get a couple of the players to come, and we went to Old Trafford for a presentation and stuff. And they enjoyed it, but it gives them hope, thinking they're going to be these footballers that they're not going to be. And I had to say to my son, it's unlikely you're going to, it doesn't mean you're going to be and play for United just because you've been to Bobby Charlton School. It literally was just something to do in the summer holidays, really, and to meet some of them.
And Rowetta?
Yeah.
What's your son's name?
He's called Derek. He's 36 now. So years ago.
36. There's still a chance. Get them, clean them up.
Well, I went to every game. I watched him at every game, but he was usually a sub. It was fast. It was fast, and that was about it. He just didn't have the skills. But I enjoyed it. But I was trying not to be one of them mothers who went, "What do you mean he's a sub again? What do you mean you're pulling him out for the second half?" But but I didn't have big dreams for him like that. I just wanted him to be happy, and that's what you've got to do. But I saw a lot of the young lads who the dads really were a little bit. You get pocket money if you score. And if you get sent off, you're going to get a slap. There was kids like that there, and it was awful. Some of the dads wanted it. That was their way out. And that was frightening, that side of it, I thought, and some of the mothers too, to be honest. And so I just said to Derek, if you don't make it, you don't make it. I'll just have to do better in the singing. But no, it was more about the camaraderie, making sure and keeping them out of trouble, practicing football, going to your under 10s, your under 11s. Them lads, I used to let them play against me. My garage just still got a dent in it from where they used to play against the garage, because you're not allowed on the streets to play anymore. So I'd let them play on my drive or in the back garden and annoy the neighbours. The football's gone over the fence again, but it's better than them doing anything else. I remember when my friends, when I was young, playing football was everything, even if they couldn't play. It was better than just roaming the streets, doing nothing and robbing cars and stuff.
It's still nice that they had something, like you said, something to do, somewhere to go.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter how good you are, not, it's just something to do. Keeps them
Yeah. And committing yourself to going once a week or twice a week as well, to go and meet your friends. Even if it's a youth club or something where you play something, there's a lack of that now. And it's, and that's when you get these kids hanging around the streets with nothing to do, bored. And that's when they get in trouble. And back then, I made sure my son went every time. If he didn't feel like he had a sore foot, you go to football, and I'll come. I didn't drive then as well. I used to cycle for ages to go and watch him, and to make sure I went every game to watch him playing football. When he wanted to go to the United, do whatever I had to do to get a ticket for him, to make sure he went. Because it stops him from getting in trouble. Football can, even if you can't play that well.
The governments, not this particular one,
yeah,
they should do more. There should be more free football pitches, all sorts of things for kids to go to, and pay people to be there to look after them. The government should be doing that. They should have loads of facilities so that it keeps the kids off the streets. What else can they do? And it's free. You don't have to pay to go and do stuff like that.
Well, because it was when my son was young, it was free. That's why I was able to do it. And I think it changed because he's quite old now and I'm older. But I think it is more the Bobby Charlton schools I think they started to have to pay, I think. I don't know, but back in my day, it was just like £1 or £2, to be fair, when I did it. And to go to the football on a Sunday, it would only be 50p or £1. So that was why I was able to send him to football and take him.
Well, my pal Peter Collins, best friend, he was in charge of the boys' clubs. He used to do a lot of work with the boys' clubs, and that was to provide free everything.
Yeah.
Snooker halls, whatever it may be, for the kids, the working class kids who had no money. And then I don't know, it all went, I don't know, with governments and people buying up the land and building houses on it, and to make money. And there should be facilities for children.
Totally
agree.
The
government run.
We've got such a bad crime problem, and it is because we haven't got, I know the discipline's gone and everything, but boredom and the parents taking their eye off everything. You've got to look after your kids, but you need somewhere to take them, and like you say, affordable. Because to be fair, I think my kids did well because a lot of it was free. My daughter went to drama and dance for free, and my son went to football for free, or it'd be 50p. It wouldn't be a lot. I'd never have to say, I can't afford it for them to go. It'd be more going to football is far too expensive to go to United. It was very expensive, but luckily one of our security men used to work for United as well in the end, so I ended up getting sorted. And now I sing quite a lot for United, so I get in for free. So I always say I sing for my supper. I'm very lucky I get invited to sing a lot of the dues there. But I always say, can I have some tickets for the Chelsea United game, or can I have a seat in a box? I always want something from singing, because they always say they'll pay me nice wages, but I just like to go to the games. And I actually sit now in Tony Wilson's seat, who's passed away, when I go. And he ran Factory Records. He's a big part of Manchester. So I'm very, very lucky that his friends lets me go with them. So I'm in the same seat when I do go, because I can't get a season ticket and go every week, because I've usually got a gig, or used to have back in the day, on a Saturday. So I go when I can, and because I don't like watching it on television, just does my head in. It's not the same as going. I love the atmosphere. I love it. I miss it.
One of the questions that keeps coming in for you, Rowetta, and it's funny, it reminds me of the questions that come in for Willie. Everyone always asks Willie about Sir Matt Busby and George Best. The most common question we've got is, what are Sean Ryder and Bez really like?
They're probably exactly as you think they are, because they talk about what they're like all the time, and people have seen them on Gogglebox who didn't know them before. They're different than they used to be when they were younger. When they were younger, which a lot of people know about, and Sean, I think, talks about quite a lot. Sean was an addict. He was addicted to heroin, so it wasn't fun. But because we were younger and we were touring and stuff, it did feel quite like fun. It wasn't really a big problem until a bit later on. But now he's quite ill sometimes, Sean. But we managed to tour. He's lost all his hair and his eyebrows, his nails. He lost everything through severe alopecia. He's had hip replacements, but he's singing and performing just as well as ever, better than ever. And I can't wait to do gigs with him again. Bez, on the other hand, is my best friend. I love Bez. He's such a character, but he's been my best friend for 30 years. And, he's at Christmas. I spent Christmas with Bez. After I spent one day with my kids and my mum, and then went with Bez because the support bubble. We're very, very, very close, and I love him to pieces. He's brilliant. But they're just like, Bez has just got a heart of gold, and Sean is a brilliant lyricist. He's such a nice man now, much nicer than he used to be. As a family man, loves his kids. He's doing now what he should have done when he was younger. But if you're young, you're young. And he didn't get to see his older kids when he was young, but now he's making up for it. He's a really good dad and husband, and and always working, and they're always on the telly. He loves doing any kind of TV show, Mr. and Mrs. whatever they offer him. He'll do it for the money, as he says. If you give me the right money, he'll do the show. But he's honest, and I like that about Mancunians, Salfordians. Very, very honest. Sorry, I do talk a lot, but that's me, Sean and Bez. We do chat a lot.
No, it's like a similar question that's come in quite a few times as well, is in terms of management. Willie, of course, has been managed by Sir Matt Busby, Harry Potts, and many others. You were managed by, or mentored by, Simon Cowell, of all people, during your time on The X Factor. What was Simon Cowell like?
I got on with him really well, because off camera, he's filthy sense of humour, very funny, very dry. And considering he's brought up in a quite... a silver spoon really was brought up in. He rebelled against that a bit, I think, as a kid. And he's just very down to earth, considering. I got on with him very, very well. Naughty sense of humour. I just really liked him. And I was only there for 9 weeks. I was the top woman in that show, which I thought was really good. I did it for my grandma. My grandma didn't get Happy Mondays. She didn't get the house music I do. So to her, I'd not been a success. So when my grandma passed away, all over her walls were newspaper cuttings from when I did the X Factor, because I was the top woman that year, and out of 50,000 people, that was, for my grandma, it meant everything. So she passed away at 92, and just a few years before, to her, I'd won the X Factor. I was the top woman in the country. She could tell everyone at last. That's my granddaughter. She was really, really proud. So, and Simon Cowell, she loved, who was absolutely lovely with my mum and my grandma. And I actually went to Barbados. Sandy Lane, I got sent over to sing for Simon as a surprise. And I spent time with him and his family and his mother, who was a lovely, lovely little woman. Julie, and just got to know him a different way than other people would have done, and it was just lovely. But it's not my cup of tea music wise, and the way they work, it's all formula and pop, and obviously I'm never going to be a pop singer. I'm not going to sing ballads. I'm not old enough to be singing ballads every week. I am, but I'm not doing it. But but for 9 weeks it was wonderful, and I've got nothing but good things to say about Simon. And Sharon Osbourne also, who was on the show, loved her and Ozzy Osbourne, loved him. I had a great time, and the amount of people, when you come off a show like that, can go one way or the other. I never got trolled or anything like that. I just got loads of love from people. It was really, really lovely, to be honest.
And who's your grandmother's favourite singer then, Rowetta?
Who's my favourite singer?
Oh, your grandmother's.
The grandmother's. Well, it would have been me, wouldn't it? No, my grandma liked Shirley Bassey, and who did she like? Alma Cogan. Because I used to sing Alma Cogan for my grandma. Sugar in the morning, sugar in the evening. And Fernando's Hideaway. Ole. She have a laugh in her voice, I think. So when I was a kid, I would be singing Alma Cogan for my grandma because that's who my grandma liked. And well, all the crooners like Perry Como and Tony Bennett, who I love as well. So yeah, I would sing those songs for grandma. But she loved me singing. Her favourite song of me singing was River Deep Mountain High. So she must have loved Tina Turner because she asked me to sing that all the time. And I actually sang that on the X Factor for my grandma because that was always her favourite song that I sang. So I presume she must have liked Tina Turner.
Another
Who's
question.
Your Willie? Sorry. Who's your favourite?
My favourite singer?
Yeah.
Oh, my favourite singer is Elvis.
Yeah.
I'm an Elvis fan.
Yeah, I am too.
Fortunate, I know quite a lot of people in the game.
Yeah, of course.
And my great friend, of course, Johnny Mathis.
Oh, wow, yes.
Don was our best man.
Wow.
And of course, Rod and Tom Jones, all that. I mean,
Tom Jones as well.
I'm about twice your age. So,
well, you're not.
People from my era, apart from the ones I've mentioned, people like Peter Noon, with him as head, lovely guy, little Freddie Garrity, the Hollies, Tennessee. That was all the bands.
They're my era too. I know all these.
Oh, you were no way. You were too.
Of course, no. I've actually sung even last year before the pandemic with Peter Noon's. I think it's his brother. I think he does the sound for me when I do a respite centre for people, for people who carers and people with disabilities. And so I do something with Peter Noon's brother. But I know all these 10cc are fantastic. That's the 70s.
Well, Graham, he wrote my song. He wrote Willie Morgan.
Wow.
And Goldman, and they recorded it. The 10cc.
That's amazing.
They recorded it. It's on RCA.
Wow, RCA were massive then as well.
Nothing to do with football. I'm on the same record label as Elvis on RCA.
That is amazing. No, RCA is the label. I've got loads of RCA vinyl.
But,
wow.
They were the bands, little Freddie Garrity, Freddie Dreamers, and when we were around. I don't know, you must have known Kennedy Street, Danny Patesh and Harvey Lisbon that owned it there. And that's what I was brought up with. But Elvis, I love all music.
No, I love Elvis. I always forget about Elvis because I used to watch all Elvis's films as well. I loved Elvis, full stop. But I don't like some of the songs. Are You Lonesome Tonight? I've never liked. I think because I was young when it came out. So I used to think some of them, some of the songs I didn't love, but I just think he's one of the best ever, one of the most talented singers. The way he sings the song, the way he portrays a song is the way I love to sing, thinking about the lyrics and the melodies. That's how a singer should sing. And he's gorgeous as well. In that leather suit, in that, what was he, 78?
Beautiful male that ever walked on the planet.
Elvis and Marvin Gaye for me, two of them.
Okay, but he was. You know, I discovered through my wife Kay, and I've got, I don't know, 100 and odd albums, and I've got plastic, the albums, and a song that I'd never heard before. And she said, "Oh, listen to Elvis." I said, "Really?" "Pieces of My Life," it's called. Now, when you finish, if you get a chance,
I'm going to put it in my phone now so I remember.
Pieces of My Life.
Pieces of My Life by Elvis.
Elvis, the words are beautiful. You have to listen to it.
I will. If it's lovely, I'll sing it. Oh, Pieces of My Life, Elvis.
Yeah.
Well, thank you.
Sorry, Callum, we diverse.
No, I will do. I know, it's the way he sings lyrics that I do love. As I say, I loved him in films because he was gorgeous as well. But his talent singing, is it 1978 when he did that all black in black leather?
1968.
1968. Wow. But I always watch that one because that is gorgeous. I used to have that on VHS and videotape, and we'd come back here and we'd all watch it back after the hacienda. We would watch that because he was just one of the best entertainers, but with one of the best voices. And I just loved the way he sang. He was just perfect. His band as well. It was everything, wasn't it? His band is
fantastic. He is. I've still got. I used to have an Elvis room at home when I was living in Altrincham.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, still got some of it. I've still got some of it,
Oh,
but the when Howard Keel, who was a pal of mine, I used to run the golf tournament for him, and he was in Dallas with Priscilla Presley.
oh, I remember Howard Keel in that. Yeah, because it was in not Oklahoma. Was it seven wives,
Hello.
7 brides for 7 brothers?
Yeah, Howard used to run his golf day, the Howard Keel Golf Classic, and he was in Dallas at the time, and Priscilla Presley was in Dallas as well.
I love that. Yeah, I remember when he was in it.
Yeah, and Howard told her, obviously, oh, the guy, he's a big fan, he's this and that. And she sent me a lovely letter.
Oh,
Yeah, well, that was lovely. And when I played in America, which is quite strange, when I played in America, NBC, they used to do something at halftime, because the half times in America lasted for 20 minutes.
right.
They used to do a special on a player, and they did the special on me. We were playing New York Cosmos when Pelé was playing for them.
Yeah.
And I was with Chicago, and they did this special on me. And during the special, they did a 20-minute, they filmed for a week, and then obviously edited it down into 20 minutes. And one of the things they asked me, said, oh, what do you like about America? And I said, well, I like Elvis. They said, really? I said, yeah, massive Elvis. They said, no. And the following month, the stuff that people sent from all
wow.
over Elvis fans.
Amazing.
When I came back that year, 1977 it was, I had to buy about 10 other suitcases to bring all the stuff back.
Oh, this is why you got an Elvis room with all. You had an Elvis room with all the
stuff. I had everything. They sent me bootleg record, everything. You have no idea. It was incredible. So,
did you go to Gracelands?
I've been there 3 times.
Oh,
I tried every time, obviously.
Oh. You get to go in every room, or is a lot of it shut off?
No, I didn't. When I went, you couldn't go in the house. The house wasn't open.
Oh.
They'd arranged a film crew from, this was the year after Elvis died. I can't remember, 78, 79. And I was going to meet Vernon Presley.
Oh, wow.
The film crew with me. We were playing there. I was at Minnesota, and we were playing Memphis. And they'd arranged for me to go and meet Vernon at Graceland and send a film crew with me. I mean, he had no idea. We were obviously soccer player, but they'd give him this big build-up, whatever. And unfortunately, when we went, Vernon was ill.
Oh, no.
Yeah. So we never did it. Never got in. But I went round the meditation garden. I queued for about 10 hours.
No.
To go around, but it was wonderful. So, but I've been fortunate that a lot of the people that knew Elvis and worked with him, that I've obviously I've become friends with, and they all say, he was just a big happy hillbilly, happy.
Oh.
None of that thing. He was just an ordinary happy guy. He said, after filming, you get a guitar out and sit and sing around the. He said it was just
amazing. He came across that way, though, to be fair. Just all the people around him treat you different, don't they? That's what happens when you're that, because he's like a star like no other, really. There's only people like Michael Jackson, probably. That's such a big star, ridiculously big. But he's a one-off, wasn't he? I mean, there's a lot of people who dress like him and try to sing like him, but there's only one Elvis.
I know, but he changed. For my era, obviously, the 50s. He changed the world.
Yeah, he did.
He changed the whole world.
And he got people to listen to black music, a lot of the black music, and credited black people and said, this is the origins of the song, which a lot of people wouldn't have had access to that music. It would have been a completely different kind of rock and roll, really. It would have been a different sounding rock and roll.
It was a different sound, and it was mostly black soul music that he started with, and that's how he learned. Yeah,
and a lot of people wouldn't have listened to it had it not been for Elvis. He wouldn't.
Anyway, it's so the 68 comeback. I still watch it. I've got it.
I do. It's gorgeous. But when we just had videos, I always used to put the VHS on. Honestly, when we came back from the Hacienda, I'd put it on because it's just. To me, it's one of the best concerts ever. it's just perfect, isn't it? It's just, you know, some concerts things go wrong, but he was funny in it. He sang brilliantly. He looked amazing. You know, you'd marry him tomorrow. Stunning.
He looked phenomenal. He looked phenomenal.
That was the best. Beautiful. Perfect. Yeah.
Sorry, Callum. Callum, I know we diverse all. You know,
but I didn't even mind. You know, sorry.
Rowetta, he tells me off for diversing all the time.
No, we can tell. I've done the same. I like people who chat to me, because otherwise I just talk forever. I never know when to stop because I get nervous especially when it's anything United, and I get a little bit nervy when there's a player there.
No, you don't have to be nervous here.
I know, but
very easy.
I've sat next to loads of United players when we've talked about football and on different shows, and really I'm in awe, obviously. And it's like, but I've become mates with people like Luke Macari, and you become mates with these people. But I'm still, if you think about it, it's like when you watch them play on the pitch, and you know, you're all legends to us. It's like some people that look at musicians like that. I'm not so much like that because I meet the musicians a lot. But football players, I still get all tingly. I know I've sung for sponsors with Sir Bobby Charlton on stage with me, and was he called Dennis Violet? People I don't really know, but like there was proper legends coming on stage as I'm singing, and for the sponsors. And I'm like this, going, oh my God. But I wouldn't be doing that with musicians. It's because the footballing legends, and it's because it's.
But you're not on your own. You know, Rod Stewart, Rod's like that.
Yeah, he's such a football fan.
When he used to come, massive. Elton.
Yeah.
All into football in a big way. You know, love it.
Yeah.
It makes the world go round. It's a working man's game, and it makes the world go round. Football.
It does, but I love watching the rise of footballers as well. And you know, sometimes it doesn't go right for footballers in their lives, but I love watching them getting better and like signing for the favourite team and whatever. And it's just getting the dream. It's just lovely. It's like, to me, it's similar to music when you get your dream, but it's just awful because the risk, if you get an injury, it's over. That doesn't happen the same way with music. It can be so sad and devastating.
But you don't think like that, honestly. When you're playing, you never ever think, "Oh, if I get an injury, I'm come." You never.
Well, you didn't, but nowadays I think they do a bit more than they used to. That's why usually the United team now are tougher than they used to be. There used to be a lot of babies in some teams now, because they are really they're not tackling like they used to.
But they're not allowed to tackle. I mean,
no, that's true. It's dangerous, isn't it?
People now wouldn't have survived in the 60s.
No, you were fearless. You really were fearless back then.
Wow, it was a different game.
It was like a fight. It was like a proper fight sometimes.
Fight, my God. Some of the fullbacks were vicious, but they were big and ugly and slow. Constantly, they were slow, which made it a little bit easier for people like George and I. Their object was, of course, to try and kick you into the stand. That was the object of a fullback. But you know, it was a great way. It was an easy way to earn a living. It wasn't hard, and the nicest thing was meeting so many people.
Yeah,
the fans of the club, meeting them, and to this day, I mean, it's incredible the number of people that still come to the door. How they find you.
When I said I was coming on this show, the amount of people it's proper love though. I mean, there's a lot of people that really are United till we die, and they really are though. They live for the football, and they just genuinely love you. You know, the players that give us so much joy, and you try to forget about when things go wrong and the bad times, but we've given us so much joy, the pleasure that football gives, and United in particular. Got so many good memories myself, and you just I wish I'd been when it was your era when you were playing. I wish I'd had a dad who took me like our drummer Gaz. His dad took him from being, you know, a toddler really, probably. I would have loved that. You know, I didn't get that. I was taken to other people's dads' teams, Everton and City games. And so I didn't get to go to Old Trafford as a kid, and I'm gutted I didn't.
But it makes you feel very humble, I must tell you.
I bet it does.
It really does. They come round, I say, hey, I'm not any special. Just come in. It's okay.
But you're so lovely though. That's because you're so. It's refreshing, really, that people who are legends, and because a lot of the legends now, and they're famous for the wrong reasons. They act in a different way. They're not humble. you know, and I always wish, I hope they lose it all when they're like that. If, you know, if they don't appreciate the fans they've got and the love, because some of them, they got it too easy, you know, and with no talent. And then, you know, people like you who could be all big-headed and not nice with people are the most lovely people. And that's why everybody loves you so much.
Well, my dad, when I was, I think 18, and I'd just become, you know, all singing, all dancing, big star, 18.
And very good looking, Willie.
I was only, it was 1963. I remember going home to Scotland at Christmas time, and the all miners, the little miner, we had a little fire. There's no central heating or nothing, obviously. They had a little fire. And the fire, the coal was outside in the coal bunker. There's nothing else. And my sister got up and they were putting fire on the coal. And I'd just driven up and I'm sat there. And my sister said, oh, we'll go and get a shovel full of coal. And my dad said, William, go and get the coal, son. And I said, oh, okay, Dad, sorry. Oh. So I went and I got a shovel of coal and it was freezing outside.
Oh.
I got a shovel of coal, put in the fire. And he said, hey, just remember, enjoy the publicity. Don't believe it.
Yeah.
When it's your turn to get the coal, you just go and get the coal. I don't have to tell you.
That's beautiful, that.
Well, that stayed with me forever.
Yeah, it's true though, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm exactly the same. People are always surprised saying, thank you for coming to see me now that you're this. Thank you for ringing me. Why wouldn't you? They're the people you need, the real people. You don't want for your fake friends who don't know you. You want people. I want to be people who know me, and will never change. You should never change. And if you're from Manchester and Scotland, a lot of my Scottish friends and Irish, a lot of people, they stay the same. They know where they come from. They never forget it.
No, you don't.
No.
Oh, well. Okay, Callum.
I've got to be very honest and say this, Rowetta. When I turned 18 in 2013, and one of the gifts my pals got me was tickets to come and see the Happy Mondays at the O2 Academy in Glasgow. And I'll be honest with you, when you agreed to come on the show, this is one of the first times I've been quite nervous about a guest coming on, because I'm genuinely a fan of the Happy Mondays. So it's been an absolute pleasure
thank you
having you on. And the question I want to ask you as a fan, and I apologise for doing this, but how do you prepare for a gig? Do you get nerves before you go on stage, or does the adrenaline of the crowd get you through it all?
No, I spend time in my dressing room on my own if possible. Bez comes in sometimes. I like to be on my own, just get my makeup on, have a couple of whiskies and just go on. I don't really get nervous. I've been doing it for so long. And I started by doing the working men's clubs, which is the roughest way to start, but I loved it. And because I did working men's clubs for a couple of years, where they are rough. I've done a 22-day tour of Scotland over a weekend. Back then, I've done proper gigs, but because I can sing and perform, I don't get booed off, and I end up going for a drink with the people afterwards. I've always enjoyed it and loved it, so I don't get nervous. I get excited. I'd get more nervous about if something goes wrong. I like everything to be perfect. I like to know the songs. I like the band to know what they're doing. I'd be more nervous if one of the band was drunk or whatever, or it doesn't happen anymore though. You know, it's all very professional. And no, I just get excited. It's like I can't wait for the show to start, because I think if you know what you're doing and you've got fans who have paid to come and see you, you should be excited. There's nothing to be nervous about. You know, it's even if I've got a cold, I can still sing when I go on stage. I give it everything, because that's what they come out to see us. I'll give them everything. So I just love it. And Glasgow, I've always said Barrowlands is my favourite place to play a gig. And we've played Wembley Stadium. We've done all over the world, Maracana Stadium, but Barrowlands, best gig ever, because it's the first time I'd come to Glasgow and played to a big crowd, and it was like a football crowd. It's like it was kicking off, and it's just the DJ had played a tune they liked, and he went ah! And it was like, I was going, what's going on out there? And it's because we were about to come on, and they knew we were about to come on the Mondays, and it's just the best crowd ever. I've done Murrayfield supporting Oasis, but it wasn't. The Edinburgh crowd weren't as good as the Glasgow crowd. Is the very, very best. I love a rowdy crowd, me, and if you're good, they let you know you're good, and if they're bad, they'll boo you off and kick you off, and I love that. But I mean, I've played it every time I play in Leeds. I wear a United shirt, every time we play in Leeds, and they start to boo me when they take off my thing at the end, my coat at the end, and have a Leeds shirt underneath, United shirt underneath. They start to boo, and I go, "Don't boo me!" And I do it, but I've done that for the last three times. I'm sure I'm going to get leathered one night for doing it, but worth it. Dirty Leeds.
I'm glad you've mentioned the Barrowlands, because it's something that so many artists have sort of talked about over the years, because it's a small-ish venue, but as you say, it's very special, especially when it's packed.
It is. I did it with the Mondays early days, early days for me, 92, I think it was. And I've done it since with another band, I think it was supporting Ocean Colour Scene. It wasn't quite the same, but a Mondays crowd in Barrowlands was it's just the best, because we're one of them and they're one of us. We're like a real people band. We're not the prettiest band in the world. We're just normal people who get on stage, love the music, love the crowd, love the partying. And now a lot of the band they settled down now, they don't party as much, but me and Bez still do. We do after parties, we'll be up all night partying, acting like we're 18 again, and I just love every minute of it. It's brilliant, and you can't do it every night because we are in our 50s, but we give it a good go.
Absolutely. In terms of performing, did you get more nervous performing at a Wembley or the Maracana for the first time than you do watching United in a major final, or is it similar feelings?
No, it's United. I don't get really nervous about the bigger the better for me for gigs. But on an important game, I can't watch derby games. I very rarely go to a derby game. And the nerves for watching football, I can't stand it. I go to Liverpool. I always go to Old Trafford when we're playing Liverpool, because I always think we'll beat them, and I love watching us beat them. But yeah, derby games I can't stand. Yeah, and important games, I cringe. But for a long time, I thought it was a lucky mascot. And then when it goes wrong, driving home when you've lost and you realise you're not the lucky mascot, because we've not won for ages. It's horrible. But always the football makes me more nervous than singing. I love singing. Football can make me sick. It's one of them games, especially with United, when we leave it right to the end to score, leave it right to the end to win. We've done it too many times over the years. We're starting to do that again sometimes, and there's nothing worse, when it means everything. You go, oh, it's just, they never make it easy for us, do they? It's very rare.
That's very true. And
I'm gonna have to pick up my son any minute because he finishes at 6.
Well,
so that's very out the room.
Very, very quick question, Willie. This is the last question we've got. It's basically the simple question. What's your favourite Happy Monday song, Willie?
I don't know any.
Monday song.
Don't worry if you don't know any.
Hallelujah.
Yay!
Hallelujah.
That's a good answer.
Yeah. It's an interesting answer, because you probably get Step On so many times, which is an iconic song for so many people.
Though Step On's a cover, so it's nicer to say Hallelujah or any other tune. But the thing with Step On, it's played a lot at Old Trafford, and there's, honest to goodness, I can't tell you how good it feels when your tune comes on and my voice is going around that stadium. I've sung at Old Trafford, but only like in the suites. I've sung in Manchester Suite, and I've sung for a ladies' lunch and blah, 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 and for the sponsors. But in the actual ground, when your voice comes on, I always stand up and go, that's me. And they know it's me, but I do it every time. I can't help it. That's me there. That's me singing Step On. And and everyone goes, we know it is. Or everybody points. It's brilliant though. It must be like scoring a goal for me. When I walk in and the tune's on, and it's played a lot, thank goodness, because we're a Manchester band, and we've only got one blue in the Mondays. Although they don't really watch football the same way. There's only really Gaz the drummer and myself now that watch the football. But it's it's a proud moment when your voice is played at Old Trafford. And that's my dream though, to sing on the actual, on the pitch one day. I don't think it'll happen, but you never know. So
you never know, indeed.
You never know.
Well, thank you very much for joining us.
I'm sorry it's gone all dark in here. The light switch is over there.
So, it's an absolute pleasure that you've joined us on the show, and I look forward
thank you for having me.
To watching what's to come next.
It's been lovely meeting you.
Oh, thank you. I'm sorry I do talk a lot. I get really, really nervous. I'm better in a room than on this online, because I talk and I can't see when you're talking and I talk. So apologies for being a chatterbox. I suppose it's better than going, I don't know.
It's been brilliant.
You're so lovely. Thank you for having me, and all the very, very best. Hopefully meet you one day when all this is over.
Listen, we will make that happen.
Oh, thank you.
We will make that.
Thank you.